The morning started like any other Tuesday until every screen on Earth showed the same face. It was not human. The creature had blue skin, 4 eyes, and spoke in perfect English through some kind of translation device. "People of Earth," the alien said. "I am Admiral Zexthara of the Veltar Empire. We represent the Galactic Coalition. We have been watching your planet for some time." Sarah Chen was drinking coffee in her office at the United Nations when the broadcast began. As the head of Earth's newly formed Defense Committee, she dropped her cup and reached for her phone. Around the world, military leaders, presidents, and scientists were doing the same thing. "Your species shows promise," the alien continued, "but you face a terrible enemy. They are called the Devourers. They eat entire planets and all life on them. They are coming to your sector of the galaxy." The alien's 4 eyes seemed to look directly through the camera. "We offer you a chance to join our coalition. But first you must prove you can fight. We will give you training exercises. You have 1 year to show us you are worthy." Sarah's phone rang. It was the Secretary General. "Emergency meeting in 1 hour," he said. "Every world leader, every military commander. This changes everything." The alien was still talking. "These training exercises will test your ability to defend your world. They are completely safe. We use advanced holographic technology. No real harm will come to your people. Think of them as very realistic war games." The broadcast ended with coordinates for where Earth should send its reply. Within 6 hours, every major nation had representatives in New York. The debate was fierce but short. China's general wanted to refuse. Russia's president called it a trap. America's joint chiefs were split down the middle. "We don't have a choice," Sarah told the assembly. "If these devourers are real, we need help. If this is some kind of trick, we'll deal with that when it comes." The Brazilian president raised his hand. "What if we say no?" The room went quiet. Everyone knew the answer. If these aliens could broadcast to every screen on Earth at once, they had technology far beyond human understanding. Saying no might mean immediate invasion. The vote was close, but Earth agreed to the training. 3 days later, alien ships appeared in orbit. They were massive, each one the size of a city. The ships positioned themselves around Earth like watchful guardians. Warden's Admiral Zexthara contacted Earth again. This time, the communication came through normal channels. The aliens had somehow connected to Earth's internet and phone systems. "We are pleased with your decision," the Admiral said during a video call with world leaders. "The training will begin in 1 week. We will start with simple scenarios: space battles, ground invasions, aerial combat. Our computers will create realistic enemies for you to fight." Sarah leaned forward. "How realistic?" "Very realistic," the alien replied. "You will see explosions, hear weapons fire, feel the ground shake. But remember, it is only simulation. Our technology can create perfect illusions." The first training exercise happened on a Tuesday morning. Holographic ships appeared over New York City. They looked exactly like alien warships, complete with glowing weapons and strange hull designs. The ships began firing at buildings. The blasts looked real. They sounded real. Windows shattered from the noise. People screamed and ran through the streets. Earth's military responded quickly. Fighter jets scrambled from bases around the world. The pilots reported that their weapons seemed to damage the holographic ships. When a ship was destroyed, it exploded in brilliant light before disappearing. The battle lasted 3 hours. When it ended, Admiral Zexthara's voice echoed across the city through speakers that seemed to appear from nowhere. "Well done," the alien said. "Your response time was adequate. Your pilots show courage, but your weapons are primitive. We expected better coordination between your military units." Sarah stood on the roof of the UN building, watching the last holographic debris fade away. Something felt wrong. The exercise had been too real. She had seen concrete chunks fall from buildings where the alien weapons hit. She had watched windows break and cars flip over from explosions. "Sir," her assistant said, running up with a tablet. "We're getting reports from the battle zone. 17 people were injured. Cuts from broken glass, mostly. 1 man had a heart attack from the stress." Sarah frowned. "I thought this was supposed to be completely safe." Her assistant looked confused. "Maybe the Admiral meant safe from death? The injuries are minor." That night, Sarah couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the concrete chunks and the broken windows. Holograms shouldn't be able to break real glass. The second exercise came a week later. This time it was a ground invasion. Holographic alien soldiers appeared in London, Paris, and Tokyo at the same time. They carried weapons that fired beams of red light. When the beams hit buildings, chunks of wall fell away. Earth's armies responded faster this time. Soldiers poured into the cities. The battle was fierce. The holographic aliens seemed to react to human tactics. When soldiers flanked them, the aliens would retreat. When humans used cover, the aliens would try to flush them out, but again there was damage. Real damage. A red beam hit a bus in London and the bus caught fire. Another beam struck a statue in Paris and the statue's arm broke off. Sarah called an emergency meeting with her science team. "Dr. Williams," she said to Earth's top physicist, "how can holograms cause physical damage?" Dr. Williams adjusted his glasses. "They shouldn't be able to. True holograms are just light. They can't move objects or break glass." "Then what are we dealing with? Either this isn't holographic technology, or the aliens aren't telling us the truth about something." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. She thought about the Admiral's words. The alien had said the training was completely safe and that no real harm would come to people. But 17 injuries in the first exercise suggested otherwise. The third exercise was the worst yet. Holographic alien ships landed in major cities around the world. Soldiers poured out of them. But this time, when people got too close to the aliens, they collapsed. Medical teams found that the victims had severe burns. Sarah watched the news reports from her command center. The aliens were claiming these were minor side effects of their advanced holographic systems. They said the technology sometimes caused small electrical discharges, but insisted it was still perfectly safe. "Safe for who?" Sarah muttered. Her communication officer looked up from his station. "Ma'am, we're intercepting some strange signals between the alien ships." "What kind of signals?" "It's not in any language our computers recognize. But the pattern suggests they're talking to each other during the exercises. Real-time communication." Sarah's blood went cold. Why would holographic projections need real-time communication? Holograms were just recordings with some interactive programming. They shouldn't need constant updates from ship to ship. That night, Sarah made a decision. She ordered her team to start recording everything about the exercises. Every communication signal, every piece of debris, every injury report. She wanted documentation of everything the aliens were doing. "Why?" her assistant asked. Sarah looked out her window at the alien ships orbiting overhead. Their lights pulsed in the darkness like mechanical heartbeats. "Because I don't think this is training," she said. "I think this is something else entirely." The fourth exercise was scheduled for the following week. Admiral Zexathara had promised it would be more challenging than the previous ones. He said Earth's military was showing improvement, and that the coalition was pleased with human progress. But Sarah wasn't pleased. She was scared. Because if this wasn't really training, if the aliens were lying about the holograms, then what were they really doing to Earth? And more importantly, what did they plan to do when the year was over? The fourth exercise shattered any remaining illusions about alien holograms. When the attack began over Moscow, the holographic bombers dropped real explosives. The Kremlin's east wing collapsed under genuine missile strikes. 43 people died. Sarah stood in the emergency command center watching live feeds from around the world. The alien ships had positioned themselves over 12 major cities this time. The attacks were happening everywhere at once. "This isn't training anymore," General Martinez said, his voice tight with anger. "If it ever was." Dr. Williams burst into the room carrying a tablet full of data. "Sarah, you need to see this. We analyzed the debris from the London exercise. The metal fragments aren't holographic. They're real alien alloy. These aren't projections. These are actual ships." Sarah felt her stomach drop. "How small are they?" "Each ship is about the size of a fighter jet. But they're using some kind of cloaking technology to appear larger. The aliens are making us think we're fighting massive warships when we're actually battling small scout craft." On the main screen, Russian fighters were engaging the enemy over Red Square. The pilots reported hits, but the alien ships kept coming. Sarah watched one human jet explode in real fire and smoke. "Ma'am," her communication officer called out, "we're picking up more signals between the alien ships. The computer thinks it's starting to understand some of the patterns." "What are they saying?" "It's still mostly gibberish, but we're getting some repeated phrases. Something that translates roughly to resistance stronger than expected and increased pressure levels." Sarah's blood went cold. She grabbed her secure phone and dialed the Pentagon. "This is Chen. I need to speak to the Joint Chiefs immediately. We have a problem." While she waited for the call to connect, Sarah watched the battle in Moscow. Human soldiers were holding their ground, but barely. The alien weapons were getting stronger with each exercise. What had started as minor burns was now causing severe radiation poisoning. The Joint Chiefs conference call came through on the secure line. "Gentlemen," Sarah said without preamble, "we're not in a training exercise. We're under actual attack." "Explain," came the curt reply from General Patterson. "The aliens lied. These aren't holograms. They're real ships using real weapons. They're testing our defenses to find weaknesses before launching a full invasion." There was silence on the line for a moment. "Can you prove this?" asked Admiral Chen from the Pacific Fleet. "Dr. Williams has physical evidence. We have intercepted communications. And 43 people just died in Moscow from holographic explosives." General Patterson's voice came back hard and angry. "What do you recommend?" Sarah looked at the tactical display. Human forces were adapting faster than the aliens expected. Earth's pilots were learning alien flight patterns. Ground troops were figuring out how to use alien weapons that fell from destroyed ships. "We play along," Sarah said. "Let them think we believe their story. But we start preparing for real war." "How?" "We reverse engineer everything we can get our hands on. Every piece of alien tech that hits the ground, we study it. Every weapon system they use, we figure out how to counter it. And we start coordinating our forces like this is the real thing." Over the next month, the exercises escalated dramatically. The aliens stopped pretending the attacks were limited to specific cities. Now entire regions came under assault. The alien ships would appear over agricultural areas, industrial centers, and military bases simultaneously. But humanity was adapting. Captain Rodriguez figured out that alien shield systems had a specific frequency weakness. Her squadron developed new ammunition that could penetrate alien defenses. Lieutenant Park discovered that alien ships had blind spots in their sensor arrays. His tank unit used this knowledge to ambush alien ground forces. Most importantly, Sarah coordinated these discoveries between all Earth's military forces. When someone learned something new about alien technology, that information spread to every human unit within hours. The aliens were starting to notice. Sarah intercepted a communication between Admiral Zexathera and his fleet commanders. The translation was getting better thanks to human computer analysis. "Human adaptation rate exceeds all previous test subjects," the Admiral was saying. "They are reverse engineering our technology faster than the Kethvar did. Faster than the Zulnari." "This was not expected," another alien voice responded. "Should we advance to Phase 3 ahead of schedule?" "Not yet. Continue current pressure levels, but increase surveillance of human military installations. They are learning too quickly." Sarah realized something that made her hands shake. The aliens had done this before. The Kethvar and Zulnari were other species who had gone through these same training exercises. She wondered what had happened to them. "Dr. Williams provided the answer 2 days later. I've been analyzing the alien database fragments we recovered from shot-down ships," he said. "Sarah, the Galactic Coalition has destroyed 47 different species using these exact same tactics." "What do you mean destroyed?" "They find a species that might become a threat. They offer training exercises. They gradually increase the pressure until the species either destroys itself fighting the fake invasion or weakens itself enough for easy conquest." Sarah stared at the data on Dr. Williams' screen. 47 species. All extinct. All had fallen for the same trick. "How long does it usually take?" she asked. "According to this data, most species collapse by the 6th month. The longest any species lasted was 8 months before their civilization fell apart." Sarah looked at her calendar. Earth had been under attack for 4 months. "But here's the interesting part," Dr. Williams continued. "Humanity is the first species to actually improve during the exercises. Every other species got weaker and more disorganized. We're getting stronger and more coordinated." That evening, Sarah called another emergency meeting with world leaders. This time she shared everything they had learned. "So they're trying to destroy us," said the President of France. "Yes. And they think we don't know." "Correct." "What do we do?" Sarah had been thinking about this question for weeks. She looked around the room at the leaders of Earth's most powerful nations. "We give them what they want," she said. "We show them exactly what humanity is capable of when we're properly motivated." The Chinese premier leaned forward. "You want to escalate?" I want to show them that picking a fight with humanity was the worst mistake the Galactic Coalition ever made. Sarah pulled up a star chart on the main screen. Red dots mark the positions of alien ships throughout the solar system. They think this is basic war training, she said. They have no idea what human warfare actually looks like. When we stopped holding back, the room went quiet as the implications sank in. We've been treating this like a training exercise because that's what they told us it was, Sarah continued. We've been using minimum force, trying to minimize casualties, following rules of engagement designed for peacetime. She pointed at the red dots on the screen. They want to see what we're capable of in war? Let's show them war. General Martinez smiled grimly. What did you have in mind? Sarah's answer sent chills through the room. We stopped playing defense. Tomorrow, when they start their next exercise, we don't wait for them to attack our cities. We go after their ships directly. All of them. At the same time, that could be seen as escalation, warned the Secretary General. Sarah's expression was cold as winter steel. They've been escalating for 4 months. They just didn't expect us to notice. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Kim, a computer programmer from Seoul, had been analyzing alien communication patterns for 3 weeks. She burst into Sarah's office at 2 a.m, carrying a laptop and looking like she hadn't slept in days. I cracked their encryption, she said, setting the laptop down on Sarah's desk. Sarah, you need to hear this. The recording was fuzzy, but the translation software had improved dramatically. Admiral Zexathara's voice came through clearly. Council members, the human species has exceeded all projections. They were supposed to collapse by now. Instead, their military effectiveness has increased by 400%. Another alien voice responded. This is unprecedented. The Devourers were a fiction we created to motivate species during testing. No species has ever questioned the premise. Sarah's hands clenched into fists. The Devourers didn't exist. It had all been a lie. The Admiral continued speaking. Worse, they are reverse engineering our technology at an alarming rate. Human weapons now incorporate our shield frequency manipulation. Their pilots have adapted to our flight patterns. They are learning faster than any species in our records. What do you recommend? Asked a third voice. We accelerate the timeline. Deploy actual military assets. End this experiment before they become a genuine threat to coalition interests. Dr. Kim paused the recording. There's more, but it gets worse. She clicked to another file. This one was a video transmission between Admiral Zexathara and someone else. The other alien had different markings and wore what looked like official robes. High Counselor, the Admiral said, I formally request permission to eliminate the human species. They are developing too rapidly. If we allow them to continue, they may become powerful enough to threaten the coalition itself. The High Counselor's response chilled Sarah to the bone. Permission granted. Use whatever force necessary. The humans must not be allowed to reach interstellar capability. The transmission ended with coordinates for coalition military bases throughout the local star system. Sarah sat back in her chair, her mind racing. Everything made sense now. The coalition didn't want to recruit humanity. They wanted to destroy any species that might challenge their power. Dr. Kim, Sarah said, how many species has the coalition eliminated this way? Dr. Kim pulled up another file. According to their own records, 234 civilizations over the past 1,000 years. 234 entire species. Billions of lives. All destroyed because they showed potential. Sarah's secure phone rang. It was General Martinez. Sarah, we have a problem. Our satellites are detecting massive energy signatures heading toward Earth. These aren't scout ships. These look like actual warships. Sarah looked at Dr. Kim. How long do we have? Based on the energy signatures, they'll arrive in 18 hours. Sarah stood up. It was time to stop pretending this was a training exercise. She activated the emergency broadcast system. Within minutes, every military commander on Earth was on the secure network. This is Sarah Chen, she said. I'm about to share information that changes everything. The alien training exercises are a lie. The Galactic Coalition is planning to destroy humanity. We have 18 hours before their main fleet arrives. She quickly summarized everything they had learned. The fake training exercises. The 234 destroyed civilizations. The incoming warships, what are our options? Asked Admiral Park from the Pacific Fleet. Sarah had been thinking about this since the first exercise. We have 2 choices. We can surrender and hope they're merciful, which their track record suggests they won't be. Or we can fight. Fight with what? Asked General Rodriguez. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. Not anymore, Sarah replied. We've been studying their tech for 4 months. We've reverse-engineered their shield systems, their weapons, their propulsion, and we have something they don't expect. What's that? They think this was basic training for us. They have no idea what human warfare looks like when we're actually trying to kill the enemy. Sarah pulled up a tactical display showing Earth's military assets. 4 months of training had transformed Earth's armed forces. Every nation had contributed technology and personnel. The coordination between different militaries was seamless. Phase 1, Sarah announced. We take out their orbital monitoring stations. All of them, simultaneously. General Martinez smiled grimly. I've been wanting to do that for months. Phase 2. We capture Admiral Zexathara and any other coalition personnel we can get our hands on. We need intelligence about their military capabilities. And Phase 3, asked Admiral Chen. Sarah's expression was cold as space. We send a message to the Galactic Coalition. We show them what happens when they threaten humanity. The attack began at dawn. Human forces had been preparing for this moment for weeks. Every alien monitoring station around Earth was hit simultaneously by coordinated strikes. The aliens had expected many things, but they hadn't expected humanity to attack first. Sarah watched from the command center as human fighters swarmed the alien orbital platforms. The aliens had superior technology, but they had been caught completely off guard. Station 7 destroyed, reported Captain Williams. Station 3 captured intact, came another report. Station 12's crew is surrendering. Within 2 hours, humanity controlled Earth's orbital space for the first time in 4 months. Admiral Zexathara's voice came over the communication system, but this time he sounded different. Panicked. Humans of Earth, you are making a terrible mistake. You are attacking coalition forces. This violates our agreement. Sarah activated the broadcast system to respond. Admiral Zexathara, this is Sarah Chen. We know about the 234 species. We know about the High Counselor's orders. We know this was never training. There was silence for a long moment. How? The Admiral finally asked. Because humans are really good at breaking codes, Admiral, and we're even better at killing things that threaten us. Sarah nodded to her technical team. They activated a signal that Dr. Kim had developed based on alien communication protocols. The signal went out to every coalition ship in the system. It carried a simple message in the aliens' own language. Surrender or be destroyed. Most of the alien ships tried to flee. They didn't make it far. Human fighters, now equipped with reverse-engineered alien engines and weapons, hunted down the coalition ships one by one. The aliens' technological advantage had evaporated because humans had been studying their systems for months. Admiral Zexathara's ship was the last to be captured. Sarah insisted on being present when they brought him aboard the human command vessel. The Admiral was smaller than he appeared in the broadcasts. He looked fragile and afraid as human soldiers escorted him to the interrogation room. You don't understand what you've done, he said to Sarah. The coalition will send fleets to destroy your entire system. Sarah sat down across from him. Admiral, I don't think you understand what you've done. You gave humanity 4 months to study your technology. You taught us how to fight your ships. You showed us your weaknesses. She leaned forward. But most importantly, you made us angry. The Admiral's 4 eyes went wide. Angry? You see, Admiral, humans are unusual. Most species fight to defend themselves. Humans fight to win. And when someone threatens our families, our children, our entire species... Sarah's voice went deadly quiet. We don't just fight back. We make sure the threat never comes back. Sarah stood up and walked to the window. Outside, human ships were moving into formation. Ships that now incorporated the best of both human and alien technology. You wanted to test our military capabilities, she said. Congratulations. You're about to see exactly what humanity is capable of when we stop pretending this is a game. The Admiral's translator device shook as he spoke. What are you going to do? Sarah turned back to him with a smile that held no warmth. We're going to send a message to your High Counselor. We're going to tell him that humanity is ready for the final test. Sarah stood in the command center of humanity's first interstellar warship. The vessel had been built in 3 weeks using a combination of human engineering and captured alien technology. They called it the Defiance. Admiral Zexathara has agreed to cooperate, reported Lieutenant Garcia. He's provided the locations of coalition military bases in this sector. Sarah studied the star chart on the main display. Red dots marked 17. Coalition installations within 50 light-years of Earth. Each base represented a potential staging ground for attacks against humanity. "What about the coalition fleet heading toward Earth?" Sarah asked. "Still 6 hours out," replied Captain Morrison. 300 ships according to our alien prisoners." Sarah nodded. The coalition had responded to Earth's capture of their monitoring stations by sending a massive invasion fleet. They intended to finish what the fake training exercises had started. They were about to learn that humanity had other plans. "Dr. Williams," Sarah called to the chief science officer. "Status on the alien technology integration?" "Better than expected," Williams replied. "We've successfully merged alien shield systems with human armor designs. Our weapons now use alien energy cores but human targeting systems." "And the propulsion?" He grinned. "The propulsion is something completely new." "Explain." "The aliens use pure energy manipulation for faster-than-light travel. Humans prefer mechanical solutions. We combined both approaches. Our ships are now faster than anything in the coalition fleet." Sarah felt a cold satisfaction. The coalition had given humanity the tools for their own destruction. Captain Morrison signaled the fleet. "Operation Homecoming begins now." Across the solar system, 200 human warships activated their new engines. The ships had been built in orbital shipyards constructed from salvaged alien materials. Each vessel carried weapons and defenses that blended the best of human and alien technology. But more importantly, each ship was crewed by humans who had spent 4 months learning to fight aliens. The coalition fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel, expecting to find a defenseless Earth. Instead, they found themselves surrounded by human warships that had been waiting in formation. Sarah opened a communication channel to the coalition fleet commander. "Coalition fleet. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. You are ordered to surrender immediately." The response came from a different alien species than Zex Thoras. This one had gray skin and 6 arms. Human vessel. "I am Fleet Commander Gorthek. You will stand down or be destroyed." "The Coalition does not negotiate with primitive species." Sarah smiled. "Commander Gorthak, you seem to be confused about who the primitive species is in this situation. Let me clarify." She nodded to her weapons officer. "Fire." The human fleet opened fire simultaneously. Coalition ships began exploding across space as human weapons tore through alien shields and armor. The aliens had expected to face Earth's original technology. Instead, they were fighting weapons that used their own advanced systems against them. Commander Gorthak's voice came over the communication system again, but this time it was panicked. "Impossible! Where did you get this technology?" "You gave it to us," Sarah replied. 4 months of training exercises, remember? We were very good students. The battle lasted 27 minutes. When it ended, the coalition fleet was either destroyed or captured. Commander Gorthak's ship was among those taken intact. Sarah transferred to the captured coalition flagship to personally oversee the interrogation. Gorthak was even larger than she had expected, but he looked small and defeated sitting in the detention cell. "Your fleet was destroyed in less than half an hour," Sarah said. "Your supposedly superior technology was useless against us. Would you like to know why?" Gorthak remained silent. "Because you made the same mistake every bully makes. You assumed that being stronger meant you were smarter. You gave us 4 months to study your technology while thinking we were too primitive to understand. Sarah pulled up a holographic display showing the battle. "Your ships are designed to fight other coalition species that use similar technology and similar tactics, but humans fight differently." She pointed to the tactical replay. "Your shields were designed to stop energy weapons. We used kinetic projectiles. Your armor was built to resist direct assault. We attacked from multiple angles simultaneously. Your formations assumed the enemy would engage in traditional space combat. We treated this like a 3-dimensional naval battle." Gorthak finally spoke. "What do you want?" "Information. We want to know everything about coalition military capabilities. Every base, every ship, every weapon system. And if I refuse?" Sarah's expression went cold. "Then we'll get the information from someone else. We captured 47 coalition officers today. Someone will talk." Gorthak was quiet for a long moment. Then he asked, "What will you do with this information?" "We're going to end the coalition's reign of terror." 234 species, Commander. The Coalition has committed genocide against 234 civilizations. That ends now. You cannot fight the entire Coalition. We have thousands of ships, millions of soldiers. Sarah stood up. Commander, you still don't understand what you're dealing with. Humans don't just fight wars. We win them. And when someone threatens our families, we don't stop until the threat is completely eliminated. She walked to the door of the detention cell. Think about it, Commander. Your supposedly unstoppable fleet was destroyed in 27 minutes by a species you considered primitive. What do you think will happen when we bring our full military might to bear against Coalition installations? 3 hours later, Commander Gorthok provided complete intelligence on Coalition military assets throughout the galaxy. Sarah studied the data in her quarters aboard the Defiance. The Coalition was massive, spanning thousands of star systems, but it was also corrupt and overconfident. They had become lazy after centuries of easy victories against species they considered inferior. Lieutenant Garcia knocked on her door. Admiral, the fleet is ready for Operation Liberation. Sarah nodded. Operation Liberation was humanity's plan to strike at Coalition bases throughout the local sector. But it was more than just a military campaign. They were going to liberate every species currently under Coalition control. How many species are we talking about? Sarah asked. According to the intelligence from our prisoners, 17 different civilizations are currently enslaved by the Coalition in this sector. The Coalition uses them for labor and resource extraction. Sarah felt her anger building again. The Coalition wasn't just destroying species they considered threats. They were enslaving others. Status on the liberated ships? We've successfully integrated human command crews with alien personnel from the captured vessels. It turns out a lot of Coalition soldiers were forced into service. They're eager to fight against their former masters. Sarah stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the human fleet was preparing for departure. But they weren't alone. Dozens of liberated alien ships had joined the formation. Species that had been enslaved by the Coalition were now fighting alongside humanity. Signal the fleet, Sarah ordered. All ships prepare for faster-than-light jump. First target is the Coalition base at Proxima Station. As the fleet prepared to depart, Sarah opened a communication channel to Earth. This is Admiral Chen, she broadcast to the planet below. Phase 1 of our response to Coalition aggression is complete. The invasion fleet has been destroyed. Phase 2 begins now. She paused, thinking about the 234 destroyed civilizations. All those billions of lives lost because the Coalition couldn't tolerate potential rivals. To any Coalition forces monitoring this transmission, Sarah continued, humanity has a message for you. You wanted to test our military capabilities. You wanted to see what we could do in war. The human fleet began jumping to faster than light speed. Consider this our final test reply. 18 months after the first Coalition ship had appeared over Earth, Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the High Council chambers on Veltar Prime, the former capital of the Galactic Coalition. The massive chamber was empty except for Sarah and the former High Counselor, now a prisoner awaiting trial for genocide. The war had been shorter than anyone expected. Coalition forces, accustomed to fighting primitive species or enslaved populations, had proven no match for humanity's combination of advanced technology and ruthless efficiency. How? The High Counselor asked. He was an ancient creature, his blue skin wrinkled with age, his 4 eyes dim with defeat. How did your species achieve in months what took us centuries to build? Sarah looked around the chamber. The walls were covered with banners from the 234 species the Coalition had destroyed. Humanity had recovered the records and was using them as evidence in the war crimes trials. You made 3 mistakes, Sarah said. First, you assumed that young meant weak. Second, you gave us 4 months to study your technology while thinking we were too stupid to understand it. Third, you threatened our families. The High Counselor shook his head. Your species was supposed to collapse during the training exercises. Every species before you destroyed itself or became weak enough for easy conquest. That's because those species thought they were actually in training exercises. They held back, trying to minimize casualties and follow rules of engagement. We figured out you were lying and stopped playing games. Sarah activated a holographic display showing the current state of the galaxy. Blue zones marked areas under human control. Green zones showed liberated species. Red zones indicated remaining Coalition holdouts. The war is over, Sarah said. Your military has surrendered. Your government has collapsed. Your enslaved species have been liberated. What will you do now? The High Counselor asked. Will you become the new coalition? Will you rule the galaxy as we did? Sarah turned to face him. That's the difference between humanity and the coalition. We don't want to rule anyone. We want to make sure no one ever does what you did again. She walked to the window overlooking the city below. Veltar Prime had surrendered without a fight when human ships appeared in orbit. The population had expected brutal occupation. Instead, they found human medical teams treating the wounded and human engineers helping repair infrastructure damaged during the Coalition's reign. The new Galactic Federation will be based on cooperation, not domination, Sarah said. Every species gets an equal voice. No one gets to decide which civilizations are worthy of survival. The High Counselor laughed bitterly. It will never work. Species are naturally competitive. They will fight each other without the coalition to maintain order. Maybe, Sarah admitted, but they'll do it as equals, not as masters and slaves. And if any species tries to build another coalition, they'll have to deal with humanity. A human lieutenant entered the chamber and saluted. Admiral, the Liberation Fleet has returned from the Outer Rim. All remaining coalition strongholds have surrendered. Sarah nodded. Casualties? Minimal, ma'am. Most coalition forces surrendered as soon as our ships appeared. Word has spread about what happened to the fleets that tried to fight us. The High Counselor looked confused. You're not executing prisoners? Of course not, Sarah replied. We're not monsters. Coalition soldiers who were forced into service are being offered the chance to return home or join the Federation military. Officers who committed war crimes are being tried by tribunals that include representatives from the species they oppressed. And the leadership? Life imprisonment. On a nice planet with good weather and recreational facilities. We're not the coalition. We don't murder people for political convenience. Sarah's communication device buzzed. She checked the message and smiled. What is it? The High Counselor asked. Good news from Earth. The first class of Federation officers has graduated from the Joint Military Academy. Humans, Veltar, Kathnari, Zulvar, and 12 other species training together. Sarah showed him the holographic image from the graduation ceremony. Young beings from different worlds stood together in uniform, representing the first generation to grow up in a galaxy without the coalition. Your training exercises taught us something important, Sarah said. Different species working together are stronger than any single species alone. The coalition tried to divide and conquer. The Federation builds unity through cooperation. The High Counselor was quiet for a long moment. What will happen to the Veltar people? The same thing that's happening to every liberated species. You get to choose your own government, manage your own affairs, and participate as equals in the Federation. Your people weren't responsible for the Coalition's crimes. Most of them didn't even know about the genocide program. And if we refuse to join the Federation? Sarah shrugged. Then you don't join. The Federation isn't mandatory. But you also don't get to threaten or attack other species. Do that, and you'll find out why the Coalition military couldn't stop humanity. Admiral Zexathara entered the chamber, escorted by human guards. The former Coalition admiral had agreed to testify at the war crimes trials in exchange for a reduced sentence. High Counselor, he said with a bitter smile, I tried to warn you about the humans. I said their adaptation rate was unprecedented. The High Counselor glared at him. You said they were developing too quickly. You didn't say they were capable of destroying our entire military in 18 months. Because I didn't know, Zexathara replied. None of us knew. We thought we understood warfare. We thought superior technology guaranteed victory. Sarah looked at both aliens. You understood warfare between coalition species. You had no idea what human warfare looks like. What do you mean? The High Counselor asked. Coalition warfare is about domination. You fight until the enemy surrenders, then you enslave them. Human warfare is about elimination of threats. We fight until the enemy can never threaten us again. Sarah activated another holographic display. This one showed the timeline of the war from humanity's perspective. You gave us 4 months to study your technology and tactics. You taught us everything we needed to know about coalition military capabilities. Then you sent a fleet to destroy Earth. The display showed the destruction of the coalition invasion fleet. We didn't just defeat that fleet. We captured it, interrogated the survivors, and learned the locations of every coalition military installation. Then we systematically destroyed your ability to wage war. But you spared civilian populations, Zexathara said. Of course, we're not barbarians. We eliminate military threats, not innocent people. The High Counselor shook his head. I still don't understand how you defeated us so completely. Sarah thought about how to explain it. The Coalition ruled through fear and superior technology. But fear only works if people believe you're invincible. Once we proved you could be beaten, your empire collapsed. She gestured to the window. Your own people are celebrating in the streets down there. They're happy the Coalition is gone. That should tell you something about how you ruled. A human captain entered and saluted. Admiral, the Federation Council is ready for your address. Sarah nodded. The Federation Council was meeting for the first time, with representatives from 43 liberated species. They were writing the constitution for the new galactic government. Gentlemen, Sarah said to the two aliens, history will judge the Coalition harshly. 234 genocides, thousands of enslaved worlds, millions of beings living in fear. She walked toward the door. But history will also remember that when humanity learned what you were doing, we stopped you. In 18 months we ended 1,000 years of tyranny, the High Counselor called after her. What happens when humanity becomes corrupt? What happens when your species decides to rule the galaxy? Sarah paused at the door. Then some other young species will probably kick our asses and remind us that cooperation works better than domination. She smiled coldly. But I wouldn't recommend testing that theory. We humans have very long memories, and we really don't like bullies. As Sarah left the chamber, she thought about the message Earth had sent to the galaxy. The Coalition had expected to test humanity's military capabilities and find them wanting. Instead, they had discovered what happened when a species evolved for war, encountered a civilization built on oppression. The Galactic Federation would be humanity's gift to the galaxy. A government based on equality and cooperation instead of fear and domination. But it would also be humanity's warning. Any species that tried to recreate the Coalition's reign of terror would face the same fate as the Coalition itself, complete and utter destruction. The galaxy was finally free, and humanity intended to keep it that way.